Understand Srimad Bhagavatam Canto First, Shloka number uh, Shloka number 28 and 29. Atha udicim disham yatu
अथो उदीचिं दिशं यातु
स्वैर स्वहि ज्ञात गति भवान
त्वयि अज्ञातगतिः भवान्
इतः अर्वाक्य प्रायशः कालः
इतः वाक्य प्रायशः कालः
अवाक्य
अर्वक
पुंसां गुणविकर्षणः
पुंसां गुणविकर्षणः
एवं राजा विदुरेण अनुजेन
एवं राजा विदुरेण अनुजेन
प्रज्ञा चक्षुः बोधित आजमीडः
प्रज्ञा चक्षुः बोधित आजमीडः
छित्त्वा स्वेषु स्नेह पाशा अंध्रढीम्नः
हित्वा स्वेषु स्नेहपाशान्द्रधिम्नः
पाषाण निश्चक्राम भ्रातु संदर्शित अध्वा
निश्चक्राम भ्रातृ संदर्शित अध्वा
अथ उदीचिं दिशं यातु
अथोदीचिं दिशं यातु
स्वैः अज्ञातगति भवान्
त्वयि अज्ञातगति भवान्
इतः अर्वाक्य प्रायश कालः
इतः अर्वाक्य प्रायशः कालः
पुंसां गुणविकर्षणः
पुंसां गुणविकर्षणः
एवं राजा विदुरेण अनुजेन
एवं राजा विदुरेण अनुजेन
प्रज्ञा चक्षुः बोधित आजमीडः
प्रज्ञा चक्षुबोधित आजमीडः
छित्त्वा स्वेषु स्नेह पाषाण दृढिम्नः
हित्वा स्वेषु स्नेहपाशान् दृढं नहो
निचक्राम भ्रातु संदर्शित अध्वा
निश्चक्राम भ्रातृ संदर्शित अध्वा
अथ उदीचिं दिशं यातु स्वैर अज्ञात गति भवान् इत अर्वाक्य प्रायश काल पुंसं गुण विकर्षणः एवं राजा विदुरेण अनुजेन प्रज्ञा चक्षु बोधित आजमीडः छित्त्वा स्वेषु स्नेह पाषाण्ड्रडिम्नः निश्चक्राम भ्रातु संदर्शित अध्वा. प्लीज रीड प्रभुजी.
अथोदीचिं दिशं यातु स्वेर अज्ञातगति भवान् इतः वाक् प्रायशः कालः पुंसां गुणविकर्षणः एवं राजा विदुरेण अनुजेन प्रज्ञा चक्षुबोधित आजमीडः हित्वा स्वेषु स्नेहपाशान् अंध्रधिम्नः निश्चक्राम भ्रातृ संदर्शित अध्वा.
Puna Mataji can read. Hare Krishna. Anyone who can read? Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please therefore leave for the north immediately without letting your relatives know. For soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. Thus, Maharaj Dhritarashtra, the scion of the family of Ajamid, firmly convinced by introspective knowledge, prajñā, broke at once the strong network of familial affection by his resolute determination. Thus, he immediately left home to set out on the path of liberation, as directed by his younger brother Vidura. purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming a dhīra or leaving home for good without communicating with relatives. And Vidura advised his eldest brother to adopt this way without delay because very quickly the age of Kali was approaching. A conditioned soul is already degraded by the material association, and still in the Kali Yuga, the good qualities of a man will deteriorate to the lowest standard. He was advised to leave home before Kali Yuga approached because the atmosphere which was created by Vidura, his valuable instructions on the facts of life, would fade away due to the influence of the age which was fast approaching. To become Narottam or a first class human being, depending completely on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, is not possible for any ordinary man. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.28 that a person who is completely relieved of all taints of sinful acts can alone depend on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidura at least to become a Dhir in the beginning if it were impossible for him to become a sannyasi or a narottam. Persistently enduring on the line of self-realization helps a person to rise to the conditions of a narottam from the stage of a Dhir. The Dhir stage is attained after prolonged practice of the yoga system. But by the grace of Vidura, one can attain the stage immediately, simply by willing to adopt the means of the Dhir stage, which is the preparatory stage for sannyasa. To sannyasa stage is the preparatory stage of Paramahamsa or the first great devotee of the Lord. Lost or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great preacher of the principle of Srimad Bhagavatam, has stressed the importance of association with sadhus, pure devotees of the Lord. He said that even by moments association with a pure devotee, one can achieve all perfection. We are not ashamed to admit that this fact was experienced in our practical life. Were we not favored by His divine grace, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami Goswami Maharaj, by our first meeting for a few minutes only, it would have been impossible for us to accept this mighty task of describing Srimad Bhagavatam in English. Without seeing him at that opportune moment, we could have become a very great business magnate, but never would we have been able to walk the path of liberation and be engaged in the factual service of the Lord under instructions of His divine grace. And here is another practical example by the action of Vidura's association with Dhritarashtra. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was tightly bound in a network of material affinities related to politics, economic, and family attachment, and he did everything in his power to achieve so called success in his planned projects. But he was frustrated from the beginning to the end so far as his material activities were concerned, and yet, despite his life of failure, he achieved the greatest of all success in self realization by the forceful instructions of a pure devotee of the Lord, who is the typical emblem of a sadhu. The scriptures enjoin, therefore, that one should associate with sadhus only, rejecting all other kinds of association, and by doing so, one will have ample opportunity to hear the sadhus who can cut to pieces the bonds of illusory affection in the material world. It is a fact that the material world is a great illusion because everything appears to be a tangible reality, but at the next moment evaporates like the dashing foam of the sea or cloud in the sky. A cloud in the sky undoubtedly appear to be a reality because it rains, and due to rains so many temporary green things appear, but in the ultimate issue everything disappears, namely the cloud, rain, and green vegetation, all in due course. But the sky remains, and the varieties of sky or luminaries also remain forever. Similarly, the absolute truth, which is compared to the sky, remains eternally, and the temporary cloud like illusion comes and goes away. Foolish living beings are attracted by the temporary cloud, but intelligent men are more concerned with the eternal sky with all its variegatedness. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां च नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 Krishna. We try to understand from the shloka number 28 and 29. Here they describe here Vidura told his elder brother Dhritarashtra to leave this place for the north immediately without letting the relatives make. No one can you tell you are give up this place and will approach which will diminish the good qualities of a men. And another shloka they describe that the about the Dhritarashtra, how he is the senior of the family of Ajamid, and uh, how his affection with his resolute determination, his affection, his property, children, and others. They describe about that, and this indicates to him by the Vidura Maharaj how they describe in detail. Prabhuji will tell us. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhecha, Krupa Sindhubhe Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama.
Am
Hare
I audible,
Krishna.
Mataji? Am I
Yes,
audible
yes,
clearly? Thank you very much.
yes,
So,
yes.
येषां तु अन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां द्रुतव्रताः. So Krishna tells Arjuna, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. This is exactly what Vidurji was explaining to Dhritarashtra, that a person who is completely relieved of all kinds of sinful acts, he alone can depend on Krishna, who is there with each one of us in the form of a Paramatma. So we have been living the material life, performing our duties, performing our karmas, have been involved into karma kanda over the years, life after life. But then this time we have been fortunate that we have been shown the real path, the path which will take us back home, back to God. So a person can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming a dhīra. So dhīra we saw someone who is leaving home for good without communicating with relatives. So Vidura is advising his elder brother to adopt this without delay. And the reason which he is citing is the arrival of Kali-yuga. Kali-yuga we know is an age of quarrel. Conditioned soul already was degraded by material association. And in Kali-yuga, even the qualities which are good will deteriorate to the lowest state. And since this was about to happen, Vidurji advised, please don't wait for that time. The atmosphere was rightfully created by Vidura. His valuable instructions on the facts of life, those instructions, if the action was not taken immediately, the influence of Kali would remove those influences because Kali was fast approaching. So it was but natural that everything should be left immediately and proceeded to the to become Narottam or first class human being who is depending completely on Krishna, practically is not possible for any ordinary person. So Dhritarashtra was saying, Dhritarashtra was being told by Vidura, at least become dhīra in the beginning. And if it were impossible to become a sannyasi or Narottama, so when you are persistently doing efforts, try to be on the road of self-realization, one day the person will rise to the conditions of a Narottama from the stage of dhīra. Even dhīra stage is attained after prolonged practice of yoga. But because of the mercy of Vidura, one can attain this stage immediately. We simply have to have the desire, the will to adopt the means of the dhīra stage, which actually is a preparatory stage for sannyasa, which is a stage of preparation for Paramhansa, who is the first great devotee of the Lord. In fact, even in Bhagavatam, we'll be seeing in the fifth canto, fifth chapter, second verse, Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahu Vimukte Tam Udvaram Yoshitam Sangi Asangam Mahanah Te Samachitaha Prashanta Vimanvaya Suhrudah Sadhavaye. It is said that one can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personality. And these personalities are the devotees. So whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence like impersonalists or wants to associate with Krishna, one should render service to the Master. And those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is open. It is wide open, not only open. Mahatmas are equipoise. They do not see any difference between two living entities. They are peaceful, fully engaged in devotional service. They don't have anger. They work for the benefit of everyone. And they do not behave in any abominable way. And that is why such people are called as Mahatmas. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises one to become perfect. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, Mahaprabhu is saying, Asat Sanga Tyaga Yei Vaishnava Achara, Trisangi Ek Asadhu, Krishna Bhaktar. So to remain unattached to the modes of material nature, one should avoid associating with those who are asat or materialistic. So there are two kinds of such persons. One who are attached to women and sense gratification, and the other who are non-devotees. But are on the other side, on the positive side, if you are associating with Mahatmas, Krishna Bhakta, and on the negative side is the avoidance of non-devotees and women hunters. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has been a great preacher of principles of Bhagavatam, has stressed the importance of association with sadhus, sadhu sangha, pure devotees of the Lord. He said that even by a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can achieve all perfection. And we have numerous examples of this. Narad Muni, Prahlad Maharaj, so many examples. In fact, if you have not seen, we had not met Guru in college, in the opportunate moment, maybe we would have concentrated more only on becoming great business person. We would never have been able to walk on the path of liberation and be engaged in the factual service of Lord under instructions of Guru. So here Dhritarashtra, despite his life of failure, he still achieved the greatest of success in self-realization, and that was only possible because of the forceful instruction of pure devotee. That is Vidurji, who is a typical emblem of a sadhu. So we should associate with sadhus only. We should reject all other kinds of association. And when we do so, we'll have so many opportunities for Shravanam. And Shravanam is something which can cut the bonds of illusory affection in the material. So whatever we are with a Bandha Jeev, so whatever has got us entangled, that can be removed by Shravanam and Kirtanam, that is chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Material world is a great illusion because everything appears to be a tangible reality, but then immediately it vanishes, it evaporates. And Prabhupada compares it with the foam of the sea or the cloud in the sky. Like a cloud in the sky appears real because of that cloud there are rains, and because of the rains we see so many greenery. But everything disappears. The cloud, the rain, the green vegetation. So it is not a reality in factuality. The sky remains. The varieties of sky luminaries, they also remain. So similarly, the absolute truth, Krishna, who is compared to sky, remains eternally. And the temporary cloud-like illusion comes and goes away. Only foolish persons are attracted by the temporary cloud. But those who are dhīri, that is intelligent, they are more concerned with the eternal sky, with all its variegated. So what we learn in these two shlokas is the northern direction as a symbol of renunciation. So northern direction is referring to renunciation and detachment from worldly life. Because in ancient Indian traditions, sages, ascetics, they would leave for the Himalayas or remote areas to dedicate themselves to spiritual practices. So Vidura is advising Dhritarashtra to renounce his attachment and take the path of self-realization. Second is, time is the devourer of all. Inevitable force of time, Kala, destroys the beauty, strength, prestige of every individual. So we need to focus on spiritual pursuits before it is too late. And thirdly, we need to get freedom from fear. So, Svairaha, walking freely, indicates a person who is no longer bound by material attachments, is unafraid of death or unknown. Such is the state of that person. This fearlessness arises because there is realization of eternal spiritual identity. Like Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, that you are not body, you are soul. And what is soul's characteristics? Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dhati pavaka. So that look is there. So what we need to further understand is the importance of spiritual guide as well. Vidura was younger, but he acted as a spiritual teacher, a guru. He imparts wisdom and helps Dhritarashtra realize the futility of material attachment. So we also in our life need the compassionate guidance, and that can be given only by a true well-wisher who can lead us towards liberation. Dhritarashtra's blindness can be considered as a metaphor because he was not only physically blind but also spiritually blind, unable to see the truth about his position in life. So Vidura's instructions opened his eyes of knowledge, prajñā, which enabled him to see reality. And then Snehapashandridimnaha, cutting off strong bands of affection. So there is necessity of detachment for spiritual progress. So the attachment to family that had caused immense suffering for himself and others, and detachment liberated him from the bondage. And fourth was taking the path of renunciation. Vidura guided to renounce the material life. This decision marked a turning point as Dhritarashtra moved from ignorance to the pursuit of self-realization. So the practical applications for us would be very simple. First of all, we need to reflect on the impermanence of material life and consciously reduce the attachment. We should devote time to spiritual practices, chanting, study of scriptures, association with the devotees, taking only Krishna Prasada, getting engaged in deity worships, having engagement in service to devotees, to Guru, and to Krishna. So this will cultivate the inner strength and peace. Thirdly, we have to embrace the change and reality of death. It is a natural part of life. We should not resist it. We should simply accept it with folded hands, open hands, I say, not even folded hands. A guru is very important in our life. A true spiritual teacher will awaken the disciple to the eternal nature and help in detachment from material illusions. Though family and worldly relationships are important, they should not become obstacles to spiritual progress. But detachment does not mean abandonment, but rising above possessiveness and identifying oneself with eternal soul. So we should seek the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master who can illuminate the path of self-realization, recognize when material attachments are hindering the spiritual growth, consciously work to reduce their grip on our life, follow the examples of Dhritarashtra by embracing wisdom, making bold decisions for spiritual advancement. Sometimes a medicine which is very, very untesty is the only way to cure a disease. Similarly, the sadhana that we do may be difficult, but then that is the only way to make our life successful. We need to get to this lesson, prioritize our spiritual journey, make conscious efforts to align life with spiritual goals. Because this is what these two shlokas have been trying to make us understand. The ultimate purpose is to rise above material attachments, realize spiritual nature, follow the examples of Dhritarashtra guided by Vidura's wisdom. And if we follow, we can too walk the path of renunciation and self-realization. So let us try to dedicate our lives to the pursuit of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.